Kia ora and welcome to a new video from NZ Pocket Guide. Today I'm going to take you to the adventure capital of the world, or at least of New Zealand, and that's Queenstown, with my absolute must-known tips before heading there. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, the first thing that I want to mention about Queenstown is that there is much more than all those expensive adrenaline activities to do there. There are fantastic foods to be found there. In fact, the city was host to the New Zealand version of MasterChef. You can find some really cool and affordable food in the town of Arrowtown, located nearby. There are also fantastic walks there, with one of my personal highlights being the Frankton Walkway. Another tip to know about Queenstown is that it can get quite expensive, so make sure to prepare your budget. The town is notoriously quite expensive, especially in winter when all the Kiwis and tourists alike head there for their fix of winter sports. Speaking of winter sport, if you're planning to travel in Queenstown in mid-winter, winter in New Zealand runs from June, July and August, but even a little after that, you may need to book your accommodation early. And if you're traveling to Queenstown in summer, you may need to book your accommodation early, especially during the weekends. Queenstown can get quite crowded and accommodation options can become quite restricted if you do not book too early enough. Speaking of accommodation, Queenstown features very little freedom camping options. So if you're traveling in Queenstown with a camper van, do make sure that you check what your options you have. If you're planning on traveling in Queenstown with a camper van but staying in a local hotel, make sure that you make it clear to the local wardens that you are not staying in your camper van by maybe leaving some of the curtains open so they can see that nobody is sleeping in. This will avoid you having to deal with some fines. Next up, and speaking about the ski season in Queenstown tends to start later than in many places in New Zealand. So if you want the best powder to be shredded, you may want to head there in late August to September. This is when you're going to get the best ski conditions. Okay, we're going back to the food scene, and everybody heard about Ferg Burger, and it's quite well rated and quite well spoken of. But did you know that there is another burger joint called Devil's Burger that offers the same kind of quality burgers, a little cheaper and without the queue? So if you feel like getting a bite without having to queue 45 minutes for a burger, maybe check them out. Finally, Queenstown has a lot of hotspots highlights to explore all around, and you may need to have your own car. Public transport in Queenstown is not the best, and you won't be able to access some of the hidden gems that the town have to offer. So if you're staying in Queenstown for a few days, maybe consider hiring a car there. This will make you stay there even better. That's everything I have for you today. I hope that you did find that super useful. There is much more on nzpocketguide.com, and the whole team is joining me in wishing you the best day ever in New Zealand.